Welcome back to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where we love to educate and inspire the community with topics around living healthier, feeling more balanced and living a life we love. And today we have Dr. Zara Chelik back with us, our integrative health and wellness expert. And the topic today is body dysmorphia. So welcome, Zara.
Thank you.
What is dysmorphia?
Well, dysmorphia comes from the word morphia, which means form. So usually that can occur in individuals where they are comparing themselves to somebody else. Usually they are infatuated with someone. When it comes to body dysmorphia, they're comparing their body parts to someone else. Or it could be also a comparison of intellectual capacity. They could be comparing themselves to say, oh, they're smarter than me. That's a form of dysmorphia. Or they're richer than me, or they're wealthier than me, or they've got better family than me. So they're all dysmorphia, but today let's focus on and talk about body dysmorphia. And in that, usually people comparing their body parts to someone else. I recently had a lady that I was actually talking to, and she went through a procedure, a cosmetic procedure, because she thought that the person that her boyfriend was actually following and watching on social media was more attractive than her. So she was looking to see what her boyfriend was actually, looking at in that individual, which was on social media, by the way, and in overseas. So she then thought, okay, well, she compared then her to herself. That was on social media. And she then took the step and went and did a cosmetic procedure because she was comparing her body part to this individual on social media. So I asked a question to her. I said, where have you perceived yourself having that form? She's very intelligent. And then she looked into it because I made her aware. She wasn't able to see that not only she also perceived herself attractive in the same form as the model was on social media, but also she had it in different forms, which was her intelligence, which was her career, which were her business and her education. And the minute she saw that, and she had that reflected awareness, because I made her aware by questioning her, she was able to accept and love her body for who she was, rather than comparing herself to some other person and try to become her, which she wasn't going to become her, right? She's an individual.
Yeah, if I may. And the other thing I just clicked with me is, of course, online, you see these people and they're all, it's all, you can't tell exactly what they look like. Let's put it, what is it, Photoshop or whatever.
That too, yes.
It's being done all the time.
Exactly, and especially with our teenagers, right? They're sort of going through a stage in their life trying to work out who they are, and also they're comparing their body particularly to other people, and they want to become like them. I just want to tell them, embrace and love who you are and have reflective awareness about where do you display that form. And if it is the body, there's also a side of you, you're not just like disliking your body completely, you're not disowning it. I'm sure there are parts that you're also owning. So go to the parts that you're owning where you feel confident and comfortable and embrace that, and that could give you that confidence. So then you're not comparing yourself to others. And with, again, social media, like you said, it's not always the truth and the true reflection of things. And I want people to be aware of that as well, because that's huge. And not only in teenagers, I also have, a lot of women, mature women, even the language that they use about their body. I hate that about my body. The minute they do it, I pick up on that. It's like, where have you actually loved that part of you? So that's quite significant. And then immediately they go to their mind, the subconscious, and get into balancing the mind within themselves. So then they create the equity between themselves and the other person that they're comparing it to. So usually it's the comparison. They're trying to be like somebody. It's the comparison of things where the individual then starts having dysmorphia. Because I'm not fit enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not attractive enough, or my size isn't just like her or him. So that's where it all comes in. But once we create the that equity between the individual outside of us and ourselves, and the balance within our mind, that's where we actually overcome dysmorphia.
And does that then also, with the body dysmorphia, does that lead into things like anorexia and
It can, absolutely. So that's when, having that conflict within. That's why I said balancing the mind. So when there's that conflict, they will want to be like, oh, she's skinny, I'll just won't eat, or I will just, or bulimia is another one. They eat, they throw up, they always have that, up and down in the weight. They're always constantly comparing themselves to somebody else. And of course, yes, it can lead to anorexia and bulimia, for sure.
And so how does it, you've sort of said a bit about how it plays out, I suppose, but how does it then, how do you actually work with people with that to help them to overcome it, or to help to feel better about it?
Yeah, great question. So I will encourage people, stop the minute they see they've infatuated with somebody and they've got this fantasy going, to stop and say, well, what is it exactly I'm admiring in that person? And where have I that displayed in me? Where do I have it also in my own form? In my intelligence, apart from the looks, or even the looks. They may be comparing the fitness of the arm, but see where else you are fit. They may be maybe comparing the stomach area to somebody else. Well, go to form and find in other form. What part of your body do you love and own? So find the form that you love and the form that you're confident and comfortable with. So you dissolve the dysmorphia. For not everybody loves every single body part, but there are things that we really like, and we just accentuate that and we bring that forward and we look at that and feel comfortable. And there's other parts where we may not feel very comfortable, but then there's that whole balance even in the body, and I want people to be aware of that. Even with our body parts, there's that balance. And once we become aware, say, hey, yes, I may not like my legs very much, but I love maybe my face or my hair or my eye, just giving an example. So I like people to find their own form and see what they're admiring in other persons actually within them once they find it.
And Zara, what advice would you give our viewers as a number one, a first thing?
Sure. So be aware of the language that you're using. Are you self-critical? That's a common one, right? And then when that creates the equity in the mind. So you are actually balancing your own mind through the thought process and the language that you have, and also contributing to the biochemistry of the mind. The other thing is, when you catch yourself being infatuated or admiring someone so much, stop immediately and ask yourself the question, what is it exactly I'm admiring in them? And find it in your own form. Where have I admired myself? And find your form. And that will help you to create equity between you and the individual that you're admiring or infatuated with.
Great. Thank you, Zara.
My pleasure.
And for more information on Dr. Zara Celik and body dysmorphia, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And now we'll go to break. Welcome back, and now we have Pauline Rooney back with us, our Yoga for Wellbeing instructor and author. And the topic today we're covering in this series is back pain. Welcome, Pauline.
Thanks.
And so what type of back pain are we talking about today?
We're talking, Linda, mainly about the general back pain, the lower back, neck and shoulders, sitting too long, standing incorrectly, all of those types of things. We're certainly not talking about surgery type back pain. We're talking the general aches and pains in the back.
So you said standing incorrectly. So people think about we're sitting incorrectly, but what do you mean? What does standing incorrect?
We need to be standing upright, the ball and the heel of the foot being in contact, no dropping of the hip, no folding of the arms, because that all pushes us out of alignment. The other thing is we tend to walk with our phone on our shoulder up, that type of thing, and that can certainly give us a great deal of neck and back pain. carrying through the whole body really.
Well, that's interesting. And how can yoga then help with back pain?
Oh, yoga is a dream come true if you have a back pain. The posture of yoga is designed to lengthen, strengthen and recharge the mind and the body. Sometimes, you know, Linda, our mind overthinks and we're not doing things quite correctly. So if I were to sit back or something like that, even sit like that, that would cause a discomfort in our back. Yoga teaches us then to be very strong in our abdominals, in the shoulders back and down, all those types of things that really assist in keeping the structure strong. And I often think if we could learn to work with our skeletal body, everything else would fall into alignment. And with the postures, they really are designed to strengthen and lengthen. However, we hear so much about many types of yoga, and that is fantastic. With back pain and all those sorts of things, it's like anything else, Linda. You need to choose the person and the studio and the style of yoga that's going to work for you. Everybody's different, so find the person that you click with, and you'll find that they will integrate posture, meditation, mind focus and breathing, because we need all of these things to come together to create the well-being in us mentally, physically, and we'll say spiritually. So it's a great help.
And how would you say then yoga is different to other ways of helping back pain?
Yoga is unique because we cover the whole body. If I'm looking at somebody and I see a dropped hip, I'm more inclined to look at where they're going on in the shoulders so that we can align and straighten that up so that it will move the hip, and then we strengthen through the posture that area of the body so that everything is strengthened to come back into alignment. So it's very unique, and the mind, I believe, plays equal, if you like, importance as the posture. And it oxygenates, it gives a blood flow. It does all those types of things that sends energy through our bodies, and it's like a great flush of energy rushing through, and put that with the posture, you have a dynamic outcome. But you need to work at it too. You need to do your jobs as well. With the yoga, Linda, there's many different things. Standing, we learn to stand correctly. And of course we have our lovely balancing poses. And if you're out of alignment in those, you're going to know about it because you're not balancing. So the balancing poses, they help to lift us and make sure that our alignment is there. We have the seated poses, we have the triangle poses. So they really do lengthen and strengthen. I keep saying that, but that's so important. And for a lot of people, they don't realise how strong a yogi can actually be. And once your muscles are strong, they support the skeletal body area, and therefore, if that is in alignment, then the muscles are more comfortable sitting around it, so to speak. And that's a great thing. There's simple things of drawing your knees up toward your chest, even sitting in a chair or on the floor. It's amazing the number of postures that we do. People will often say, I can't do a back bend, but in essence, that's what they need to be doing. But under the guise of a very, good and well-trained yoga studio, because when we do a back bend, we're actually lengthening the sternum, lifting up and lengthening through. So we're actually stretching the back, not compressing it. And that's a great thing to be very aware of. You do not compress the lower back or hug the shoulders up and put compression into your neck, things like that. So again, another thing that we often see are people that stiff neck, they'll roll their head around and around. We think of that as a 16th of your body weight on the smallest vertebra or one of the smallest vertebra. So we talk about doing it in the four quadrants, So you go back, you go forward, and you go to the sides. so that you're not putting all that pressure onto the vertebra.
And Pauline, what would be, with back pain, the best advice that our viewers could take away today?
There's many things, Linda, that can really help. Some of the best is to simply work with your mind and your breath. We're always saying that in the yoga. But gentle moves of, say, coming forward and just stretching, not arching, but stretching, that'll help to lengthen. Working with your tummy muscles to strengthen the muscles so you sit upright, standing up nice and straight. When you bend, bend from the knees, breathe in to lift, breathe out to put down, because that makes everything lighter. When you're turning, don't sort of half bend and turn. Make sure that you turn your feet to pick something up or to move. Don't swing on a straight spine. Those types of things really do help. And with your shoulders, you can do just a very gentle shoulder roll. We keep our elbows in and just work through the shoulders like that. They will all help. And of course, you go backwards. Your breath, your body movement, and your mindset, Linda, they're the three golden rules. It's amazing how such simple things can actually assist in the gentler, I'll say, back problems, not serious back problems, but the everyday back problem. So that'd be my advice to our viewers today.
Oh, lovely, Pauline. Thank you so much. And now we'll go to break. If there's any more information you'd like on Pauline Rooney and Yoga for Wellbeing, but specifically back pain, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au, and we'll be back after the break with another wonderful speaker. Welcome back, and we're here again with Steve Hall, our holistic coach. More of the series on living a life of value and meaning. And today the topic is how to turn on the most powerful part of yourself you're not aware of. So Steve, over to you. How do we tune into our power?
Yes, thank you, Linda. It's a great question. And I suppose the question in everyone's mind might be, what is that power you're talking about to start off with? You know, if I'm unaware of it, where has it been and what is it? What does it look like? And it's what I've learned along the journey is our mind, you know, who we are. It's consciousness, but it's also a subconscious part of ourselves. And the conscious is only like less than 20% of the power of our mind. Most of it is subconscious. So it's, if you imagine it like a captain of a ship, you know, he's the conscious part. He can see where the ship needs to go. He's aware of everything. All his senses are giving him the information. And the subconscious is all the crew underneath, you know, in the bowels of the ship, you know, they're running the motors and steering the ship and everything. And they operate on communication from the captain to know what to do. Everything the captain says, they take it as an order and they just do what they're told. And that's their job. But it's really the crew underneath that is the power of the ship that, you know, gets it all running and takes it where it wants to go. So that's the analogy of the most powerful part within us is our subconscious. But because it's subconscious, we're not aware of it. And so how do we get that to work with us instead of against us? Because a lot of us are in lives where we may feel like we're stuck. We don't have any choice in where the ship's going, for example. And it's like, well, how do we change direction? How can we change course if it's, you know, it seems to be taking us a direction we're not wanting to be in? And that's what the most powerful part of us is.
Yes, because many, as people said, many people do feel they don't have a choice in life. So how would you say, what would you say to that? I know you said that you take charge of the ship. When they feel like they haven't got a choice, now what would you say to that?
Look, really great question, because you get stuck in life and it can seem like life and death. It's really important, but you think there's nothing you can do. The situation means I've got no choice. I'm stuck. And that's when you become a victim. You know, I'm powerless to change my life. And it's a terrible place to be in. So I really sympathise or empathise with people who have that feeling. I know what that's like. But one thing that I learnt through my journey is there is always a choice. And it's not the choice that was scaring me so much as the consequences of if I took a choice. I think we've really only got 3 choices in life, and we can accept something, we can change it, or we can let it go. But we might not like the outcome we're imagining out of any of those choices. So sometimes we do nothing and we think, no, we've got no choice. We've got to ride this out and wait for something to change, which is sometimes it's not going to happen until you make a choice. So that's what I'm talking about. The choice is there, and it's more about how can I learn to exercise those choices safely and take some control in the choice itself.
So the advice from that, you mentioned letting go. What is letting go? How do we do that?
Well, letting go is, you know, we've got a past and we've got a future and we've got a now that we're living in. And quite often we can get stuck in the past, in the story of the past, because once it's past, it is past. It really only exists in our mind as a bunch of neural pathways and some energy. That's all that's left over, but it's real inside our mind. And that can control, you know, what we do from here on in. So letting it go is deep breath, a little bit of mindfulness, but it's like identifying that happened to me how many years ago now? Yeah, it was bad, but it's gone now, you know. It's like breathe that in. It's not hurting me now. We have a tendency to take those situations and emotions that happen then and we apply it to everything that could happen in the future. So it's blanket across everything, and so we feel stuck. We've got those emotions, we feel them, they feel very real, but they're holding us in place. And that's a case of a memory from the past affecting our future. So it's like, let it go, acknowledge it's there, and yeah, it was hard, but you're past that now, you've learned from it. And the situation in the future is different to the situation in the past. And you're now got the experience from the past, you can use that too to take yourself more safely into the future. But it's like, let it go. Just go, that's gone. It's not serving me any longer to be controlled by that.
And no doubt there's a whole bunch of tools and tips that can be used to help that
Absolutely.
release or that letting go.
Yeah, there's some simple ones though that you can use right now, and that's our subconscious. Like, got to remember, they're the ship's crew, right? They operate on orders. So everything that our consciousness, and I'm pointing to my brain here, that's where I think it is. Whenever it's self-critical of the stuff I do, and that was a lot in the past, you know, like I was very judgmental about myself. But my subconscious takes all that in. And so the trick to turning the ship and letting something go is having positive language. You know, especially as an Australian, I used to criticise myself in a joking way, thinking, oh, that's all right, I'm just mucking about, oh, I'm an idiot. My subconscious is going, he's an idiot. Let's connect into a reality where he is one. And it listens to us, and it takes me into more situations like that. But if I go, oh, I can say I've made a mistake there, well, I'll fail forwards. I'll learn from that, and I'll use that learning to go, I'm not an idiot, I've just learned something. Let's change the language that we're saying all the time. So I would say if you want to start, you know, turning your ship, using your subconscious, turning your power on, catch yourself how many times during a day are you consciously aware that you've been critical of yourself, and how many times have you been complimentary or compassionate to yourself. And just keep going until the second one is higher than the first one. And that's something everyone can do.
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you so much. And for more on Steve Hall and living a life of value and meaning, specifically those fears that come up for us and our relationship with them, then please go to his webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And for now, we'll say bye-bye until next week.